I wasn't sure if I'd like My Dinner with Jimmy, and I didn't think I knew any songs by the Turtles, but I'm pleased to say I did enjoy the film, and I do know at least one song by the Turtles. It turns out they sang Happy Together, which I didn't know, so I got a bit of an education here. My Dinner with Jimmy was released in 2003. It's directed by Bill Fishman, it's written by Howard Kaylan, and it's about the band The Turtles in the 60s and when they came to England and they met various 1960s musicians. I won't name them, I won't give it away actually. This information is quite heavily on IMDb and Wikipedia, so if you look into the film, you'll find out. But I was kind of curious to see which musicians would pop up and which ones I'd recognise as well. And I knew the big ones. There were some musicians mentioned I'd never heard of before. I'm not really into music, so that's on me. That's not anything to do with the film. But I found that to be really quite interesting, and based on this true experience, I thought it was a nice way to teach me about the Turtles and to also let me know that actually I do know some of their songs. We have a cast including Justin Henry, Jason Boggs, Royale Watkins. We have George Wendt. It's because of Wendt that I became aware of this. It's absolutely not a film I would have watched if I just discovered it randomly and read the description. But actually, I'm really glad I had a reason to watch it. That's not to say I loved every second. And there are certainly things in this, discussions characters were having, characters or other musicians they were talking about, where I didn't fully know what was going on because I'm not into music. It's just not something I care for. But I'm always happy to learn about musicians in the music industry, and that part of it I did actually quite enjoy. I got a lot of satisfaction about the educational aspect for me. Obviously, I can't comment on whether this is an accurate portrayal of the events or the characters, but considering it's written by Howard Kaylan, who was a member of the Turtles, I'm assuming there's a strong degree of accuracy here. And in general, I thought it was a good experience. So if, like me, you're curious to learn, absolutely worth checking out. Also, the music is great, of course, but I loved the costumes and the hair. It looked absolutely wonderful. And if, like me, you're interested in learning more about this time period, the musicians, the characters featured, I am very happy to recommend it. And I didn't think that I'd be saying that. I thought that I would be when I started watching it. Well, that's not true, actually. I'd say almost from the very beginning I enjoyed it. I really liked the style. It's a little bit funny. And just immediately I loved the style of storytelling. I loved the way the characters were introduced. Really solid start. But before I clicked play, I thought that I would be concluding this discussion by saying, it's not for me, I didn't understand it, I can't recommend it from my perspective, but actually none of that is true. I really liked it. I was able to follow it for the most part. The music's great, characters are very likeable, I assume they're very well written and close to the true individuals, but again, I can't comment on that aspect of it. And I had a lot of fun with it. I'd love to know what you think of it. Obviously, if you're coming from my perspective, is it a similar experience? Did you like it? Did you not like it? But also, if you're familiar with the Turtles or you're a fan of 60s music, how did you find it? Did you think it was an accurate portrayal of that time period and the characters who are featured? I'd be very keen to learn more. Wasn't expecting to enjoy it. I thought I'd watch it as a George Wendt fan and I'd get whatever I could out of it. But actually, I thought My Dinner with Jimmy. Also, I should point out, Jimmy in the title is Jimi Hendrix. I realise I haven't mentioned that. I wasn't going to mention any of the musicians they meet in case you didn't want to know who they encountered. If, like me, you're going into this with limited knowledge. But yeah, the Jimmy of the title refers to Jimi Hendrix. And I enjoyed it a lot. My Dinner with Jimmy was a really great experience. Really glad I had a reason to watch it. Glad George Wendt was in it. And needless to say, I'm very happy to recommend it.